What's poppin', Tub Nation? Welcome back to Tub Takes. This is a VGC video podcast where we go over what's been making waves in the VGC scene. Today I have your Sacramento regional champion here up at the top. A couple people up above me. Carson, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Happy to be here. Happy to have won.
Of course, of course. This thumbnail, by the way, for the announcement is one of the more tame ones. If we showed you some of the other stuff Carson was doing about before the regional, it would have been hilarious. There's so
Yeah,
many.
let's keep those screenshots in tub.
Right, of course. We also have coming off a top 8 finish in Sacramento. Aaron Brok, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on. Glad to be here.
Appreciate you coming on, and congrats on the finish as well. And last but not least, we've got my co-host Adi. Hello, hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Tub Takes.
How did Sac go for you, Adi?
It was good. We restreamed basically the entire tournament. We had streams on Saturday and Sunday. We had something like I did it on YouTube and on Twitch, of course, !YT in chat if you want to watch Tub Takes tomorrow morning. You can't stick around the entire time. But yeah, we had a decent number of people tuning in, especially towards finals. We had a big Carson fan club going on. So yeah, it was really fun to stream with everyone. Definitely looking forward to doing it again.
Yeah, we've got Stuttgart this coming weekend. Might be able to do some restream watching for that one. Good thing that Adi did just mention though, !YT in the chat. If you're here now, but you won't be able to stick around for the rest of it, or if you just prefer to watch these on YouTube at 2x speed or something, it'll be up on YouTube tomorrow at CK49 VGC. Wait, are you CK49 or CK49 VGC? Anyways,
CK49, but then the URL is CK49 VGC. So
weird.
Switch
okay,
either
sure.
one. It works. Yeah.
Got it. Anyways, though, I think this is a mildly funny story, but while Adi was streaming the rewatch, right after I got knocked out of cut by Joe, I tried to join the Discord call because Adi was like in the Discord call, and I was just like, is this where they're doing the losers interview? But Adi just kept completely ignoring me because he just didn't have his like settings set up correctly, I guess, so he just couldn't hear anything. I was just like, this would be a great bit, but then like the window was just completely missed, so.
Yeah, we did that with Nails called in from Baltimore Regionals, I think, and that was really cool. Just he was walking around interviewing people while we were in between rounds. That was really fun. So I definitely wish I could have got you on.
That would have been funny. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into a couple of topics this week. Actually, I think we just have one quick topic before we talk about Sacramento, and that is just the GC officially being announced. So that's going to be taking place not this weekend, but the next. You can sign up for it like tomorrow or something like that. The sign up period. Of course, that doesn't actually matter that much unless you like literally already know your team, because you sign up. When you sign up, you lock in your team, right? So don't be doing that just for the sake of it. You got to know what you're running. But yeah, this is officially confirmed now. We talked about it last week, but it was a lot more funny when Zach had, found it on the event locator saying, if you go to TPCI headquarters, that's where Grand Challenge 3 is going to be. But regardless, now we have the official announcement. And yeah, I think a lot of people were guessing this weekend because it didn't line up with some other events. I do know it still lines up with some, though. Of course, we'll be previewing those next week on Tub Takes. But the same weekend as this is, I believe, the Bogota special event, as well as one of the Premier Ball leagues, maybe Malaysia.
It's also Perth, the regionals, I want to say.
Oh, Perth, yes, thank you. There's literally a lot going on for this one. So, of course, there's so many of them that, you can't be too bummed. Like, it's eventually going to line up with something, I guess, for you, or something inconvenient, whether it's, Pokemon or an IRL commitment or something like that. But yeah, that's this one's going to be happening the next weekend. Still Regulation H, the last one of Regulation H, right? Because then we'll be going back to Regulation G. Assumedly, they always had some kind of text, I think, maybe when they announced them, that said like the formats might not match. I expected it'll always match what you're playing at tournaments, though. So might be your last chance to do anything funny in Best of 1 Regulation H. Aaron, you did pretty well in one of these, right?
I got top 128, I think, in the first one. And the second one, I did worse than that. I don't remember what I did.
Okay, I'm misremembering then. I thought you did all right. Don't worry, that's exactly my finishes as well. Top 128 and worse than that. So similar finishes there. Carson, though, you were
More than I
popping off
expected.
about never having to play these again, right?
I know, I'm excited. They
Jealous.
kind of make me mad because I always peak a lot higher than I finish because I never know when to stop. I'm always like, oh, I want to win, I want to win. So I just keep playing. Like last time, I was like, I think I was a score that would have finished like right outside top 16, but
Mhm.
it was so much lower than last time. I was just like, oh, I want top 32, so I need like 30 more points, and I just didn't at all. And so I kept playing, and I ended up losing to one of my friends on like the last turn because he had like a really weird Terra on a Pokemon, and I just used a move, and it suddenly he was immune to it, and I was not very happy,
No, that's
to
always how
say
it
the
goes.
least.
Yep. I personally have a great time with these. But even though like my finishes are relatively mediocre, I don't know. How do you feel about the GCs, Audie? Have you been having fun with them?
Dude, I've been having fun watching my number of championship points go up and down by 40 every single week. They gave me the points and then they lost me. They took them away, and it's like, what is happening? I just have to check right now to see if they gave it to me. They have not. Sadly, I don't think it's happening.
They did give it
But
to you though. I mean, it was on Audie's Twitter though. I might not pull it up right now, but yeah, if you want to go see that, it's pretty amusing. Audie keeps getting top 32 and then taking it away and then getting it back and then taking it away. I don't know why it's. Who is it? Who is it that has their account linked poorly? I don't know.
that's what I gotta know. I gotta know who is getting DQ'd and undQ'd over and over again.
Right,
You just got to find more evidence so they permanently get DQ'd.
right.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Um, but yeah, so this we'll again be talking about this next week because it'll be actually taking place that coming weekend. But yeah, start getting your strategies ready, start getting your teams ready, of course. Keep an eye on the you might actually see some teams come out of Japan if they share their end of the season teams. So we should probably try to talk about that next week. But Japan uh, loves to try to push for first as the season ends, and if that of course ends at the end of the month, December 1st is this coming Sunday. So that means that you'll have a bit of time to see what teams maybe finished the highest on the Battle Stadium season ladder, and then maybe get ideas for best of one for yourself or what teams to watch out for too, because other people are definitely going to rip them. We've been seeing Japanese team building do very well this season. So with that though, let's go ahead and move on to talking about Sacramento regionals. And the first place team, we got Carson right here. I wouldn't say this is inspired by Japanese team building, more where are the Hoge brothers from? Actually, I feel bad asking.
Somewhere in Europe.
They're Danish, right?
Danish would be like Denmark. Is that what Danish means?
That is what Danish means, yeah.
Okay. They're from Daneland. Makes sense. Anyways, yeah, Carson, this team is similar but different. You mind telling us just not a full team preview, but tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, I didn't really know what to use for this tournament, and I didn't start playing again after the last GC like 3 or 4 weeks ago until last weekend. I kind of just took 3 weeks off since I knew LAIC was going to happen and the meta was going to shift a bunch. Dondozo started really sucking because of Haze Dragonite, and it kind of killed any motivation I had to play online since I really only wanted to use Dondozo. And after LAIC, I tried a bunch of different teams and none of them really worked. But people, I think you were the main one, Alex, that kept saying that like the OE or the Hoge team was like such a Carson team and that I should look into it more. And I like tried it some on ladder and I kept losing to Specs Gold, especially because I really did not know how to use Talonflame. And so I kind of put it off and I try to learn like Marco's son or whatever, but I'm just like, I'm not good with any team even resembling having a balance mode. I'm just not good with it. So I ended up on this team and started with the version that OE used at LAIC. And I talked to him some on Twitter and he said that like Marco's son was super hard for him, and
Mhm.
like he lost to Marco in top 8. That one was on the stream. I think they all were. And he said the Dragonite was just for Dondozo, and I was like, no one's gonna use Dondozo at this event because it kind of sucks now with Haze Dragonite, which wasn't totally fair, which I was surprised by. Like Jake Mueller really killed it at this event. I think there was a few other people who were using Dozo. I played one like the second round of day 2, so I think that's round 10.
Weren't you
And he was
using
playing
Dozo? Let me find
what?
his. I thought you were using Dozo. Yeah, Carson right here. Carson, you got top 64? Carson running
Oh
Dozo?
yeah, Carson Jones.
You
And
know
he was
it. You
on
know.
like almost the same team as me, and because I stood next to him in line, like walking into the tournament before day 1, and he told me what he was using, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm using the same team without Dozo and without Dragonite, so I actually auto lose to you. So I really hope we don't play." Uh,
I actually played against this Carson at a local here in Seattle. So did Rafa as well, and we kept joking that it's like this is just Carson. This is their other Carson, but they're just wanting to be Carson.
yeah, we do love like the exact same types of teams, so it's pretty funny. But
So amusing.
we kind of Marcus Dion and I, we worked on the team together. I sent him like a PokePaste link like Wednesday night, like really late, and I just said try, and that's kind of how I got him on the team. I picked Ensign because like I said, like I didn't really think anyone would use Dondozo, so I was like, okay, I'll just not have a Dondozo matchup this tournament and it'll probably be okay. And I think it was in Tub or maybe uh Gambito, which is another one of my building groups that I'm in. Someone had talked about how good Safety Goggles Ensign was into Marco's team. And I was like, okay, well, that's a good Pokemon. It probably matches up with the team like fine, and it will fix the Marco Sun matchup. So I'll just try that. And we went back and forth on a bunch of different like iterations of the team. Like up until 9 p.m. on Friday, there was a Scarf Terrafairy Basculegion over the Talonflame, which I don't know if it
That's-
would have been necessarily worse because I think I brought Talonflame to like 2 or 3 matches, but Marcus brought it a bunch. So maybe it's just I got lucky with the matchups. But I liked where it ended up with the Ensign. Not to get like too in the weeds on my spreads or anything, but I didn't want it to be boring, so I made it like super offensive, and it got a lot of kills that people were surprised by and outsped a lot of things that people were surprised by. So I think it fit the team and the pace pretty well, surprisingly, since it's a parting shot safety goggles ensign with a defensive Terra, so you'd think like it's not gonna fit a fast-paced team, but it worked out pretty well.
I do think it's like very amusing that Goggles Ensign is the Techmon to save you from the. I mean, like it absolutely makes sense if you're trying to tech against sleep powder spamming Sun. Ensign is of course the mon to do that with. We actually saw somebody else do similarly. Joji Suika also just took a team from LAIC or Elizabeth Rain as we've been seeing and just dropped the Golden Go for an Incineroar safety goggles. The same idea. Just like, if you want to make this Sun matchup better, just slap on the Ensign with the goggles. It's not like a very... The thing about Ensign is that it doesn't feel like a very specific patch because it is ultimately Incineroar, a Pokemon that's done so well in VGC's history that you will find use cases for it in a lot of matchups. But the fact that it's strong specifically into that one, it makes it even easier to put on the team.
You saying that reminded me that I think it was like you and Chuppa talking about Rain and
Right?
putting Goggles Ensign on it that inspired me to put it on my team for this
Yes.
tournament.
But I was also inspired by Suika, had seen it on ladder and was like considering doing the same thing, running the Ensign version of this team. And, not to make it about me, but ultimately I ended up switching to Golden Go. So, anyways. But yeah, this obviously went well for you, I'd say. I think that's a pretty solid understatement. But this is your first regional win. You've won a tournament before. You've won a couple of tournaments before. Though I don't know, some people might disagree about counting the other one or not. I mean, it was Worlds. It was
Yeah, I
Worlds.
mean it was seniors, but
It's Worlds.
still
Come on,
worlds.
come on.
Japan's strong.
But you have won, like, in the Masters division in international, just not yet a regional. I don't know, how does it feel to finally get this one off your back, basically?
Yeah, this is one I've been trying for a really, really long time, and I felt like I should have had it already since I've had so many like chances, so many top 8s, top 16s,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had a lot of tournaments where I came really close to winning and something always just went wrong, whether I choked or I got a little unlucky and my run just kind of ended right there. And this time I I didn't really get lucky besides finals.
Mm-hmm.
Like my top 16 and top 8 pairings were honestly like the worst matchup in the field I could have faced. I would have loved to play one of the multiple people in top 16 using Elizabeth Rain because I think that was a pretty good matchup for my team. And instead, I got Brian Collins hard trick room, which was really, really hard since the main change I made from Oi's team besides the Ensign over Dragonite was dropping Imprison on the Ndidi for Protect,
Right.
which kind of just throws that matchup out the window. But it was another one where I was like, you know what, I'm just not going to play hard trick room, so it's okay. And then ended up facing it. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
it worked out pretty well, so can't complain.
What would you say was, like, if you could pick like one or two, what were the most like exciting or interesting matchups that you played over the weekend?
Yeah, both top 8 and top 16 were really exciting, mostly just exciting, and then I was able to somehow win.
Mm-hmm.
My top 8 opponent, Eric Schrader, he had Sand, and that was a matchup that I knew coming into the weekend was probably the worst one that I had. The Basque Legion helped a lot, which is why I was using it, but when we switch back to Talonflame's obviously a mon that's horrendous into Tyranitar. You lose your Gale Wings, just dies to Rock Slide, obviously. Um, and so being able to beat him in top 8 after he had destroyed me round 7 of Swiss, like absolutely destroyed me. It felt really good. Brian
Mm-hmm.
Collins, the one I mentioned earlier, that was one where it was super exciting just because, I mean, my team had a lot of 50-50s already, but I just really pushed hard to even turn it into a 50-50, and I felt like I had to like play very unconventionally, like use leads and strategies I'd like never even thought of like implementing before with the team, just to
Mm-hmm.
even turn it into like a mind game and not just like I instantly lost. Because with Brian Collins' team, he had a Specs Torkoal, and if
Mm-hmm.
that Specs Torkoal got in with 3 turns of Trick Room or 4 turns of Trick Room, it was just instantly over. Like nothing I can do. My whole team, besides Ensign, just gets one shot by it. He had Helping Hand to support it. Like I can't beat that at all. And trying to like reverse Trick Room with my Ndidi sounds good, but I took Terra Ghost off, which I had at Louisville for Mousehold
Right.
because
Right.
Mousehold kind of stopped seeing a lot of usage. And suddenly, like, I think most of my team dies to Pop Bomb as well. Like, the Ndidi dies, the Sneasler dies, the Electabuzz gets pretty close to dying, so does the Blood Moon. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there's not a lot of physical bulk on my team, so
To be
outside of
fair,
the
I think that's
Intimidate.
most teams. I do think most teams just kind of die to pop bomb. That move's pretty strong.
Yeah, but he just played the speed sandwich really well with
Right.
mouse hold and his trigger mode, and he won game 1 pretty decisively off of just like outplaying me with that speed sandwich and being able to figure out a way in game 2 and game 3 to turn that around and win the set was something that really made me happy.
Yeah, overcoming those tough ones is like always going to be the biggest obstacle to winning, of course, and it's gonna feel amazing when you do it. A lot of people, especially when I'm like talking to people like I coach, I think that what you identified in this one is that if it's a hard matchup, you want to just try to find coin flip turns and plays to force your opponent to guess, because if a lot of people have a tendency to play for like a long game, like not take these early turn 1 50-50s and say like I don't want to lose the game instantly on turn 1, and it's like, do you want to lose on turn 8 instead? Like it doesn't really matter. So I think identifying that that's your best chance is just playing some mind games early on can be a thing that's like a bit of like an obstacle people have like mentally, where they're just like not comfortable with it, and you have to just embrace it, play into it, and really get in your opponent's head with it. Just get a good read on them.
Yeah, funny story about that, like exact thing from top 8. Like Eric led his Indeedee, which I'm guessing was modest. It was Terra Psychic with Scarf. So if he Terras, I think it's a one shot on my Blood Moon, and I'd led my Blood Moon. And I was like, I need to force 50-50. I'm gonna guess this Indeedee switches out to Sneasler turn 1. So I just Earth Power it when he can one shot me, switches out to Sneasler, and I win game 1 basically on the spot. And like those are the types of plays like I feel like you have to go for in a bad matchup, or else you're just, like you said, just delaying your loss. Like if you
Exactly.
try to trade or like look for some 100% win con when it's a bad matchup, like you're just never gonna out trade them. You're never gonna find like some perfect winning line. Like sometimes you just gotta, it's Pokemon. You gotta play the mind game and win it.
Exactly. Embracing it is an important thing to know when to do, basically. Um, But yeah. Other than that, I think one last thing that I want to ask before we'll be bouncing back and forth about it. Of course, we'll be talking about it as we go. But I know that uh, you were wanting to talk a bit about like music and stuff, and just like things that like helped you like lock in for the tournament. What was I still don't know the answer. What was the song you were jamming to all weekend?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I don't want to advocate for drug use, especially if there's any children watching, but it's
Good
a
start.
song
Good
called
start.
Sigs Inside by Harrison Gordon. Uh, I don't know. I just every regional or like tournament in general, I guess I just pick a song that I like, and just it's that one song on repeat basically the whole weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And like I only use the same song for like during the games as well, like on the Switch when you get to pick the song. And I think there's something, I don't know if it works for everyone, but for me, like having the consistency of like blocking out the noise with the same sound every time just lets me like focus my thoughts and just like retreat into my own head to where I can like plan out the matchups and stuff rather than
Mm-hmm.
like being focused on actively listening to something.
I'm curious, maybe not like the exact same question, because like for me, I personally don't listen to like any music during a tournament. Like I have sometimes, but sometimes not. I'll start with you, Adi, but is there any kind of like tournament habit you have to help keep yourself locked in, or any kind of like tournament habit? I guess if you don't have an immediate answer, Aaron, you as well think on it. But yeah, I was just curious if you guys could think of anything that you're like always doing during a tournament to help like maintain composure, focus, whatever you want to call it.
Well, I find it. I gotta take a shit a lot during a tournament. Before round 1,
That's
after round
real.
1, after my round 4 coffee.
Feel that?
I'm the same
uh,
way, except for like the round 4 one. I feel like by the time like pre and post round 1, I'm done. Like I'm set. But I also am not drinking coffee in the middle of the tournament, so that makes sense.
yeah,
There's
no.
drugs that make you stop, by the way.
Uh-huh.
I think it's
That's
fine. I
another
think it's
tournament hack. That's another tournament hack.
we don't talk
Okay,
enough
yeah.
about PEDs and VGC, right?
Yeah.
Anti-diarrhea.
Oh my god.
I'm like I'm trying to think if I have any real habits. I don't really. I do listen to Cassiopeia, to Penny's theme when I'm playing. That's the
Right.
one song that I have on basically every single round. I think that's just the best song of the soundtrack, and I try to stick to, like, I feel like if you stick to one song in game, it kind of gets you in the groove a little easier than if you're rotating.
Mm-hmm.
Uh And other than that, like I don't know. I don't really have any habits during a tournament. I'm usually walking around talking to people in between rounds, all that stuff. And yeah, nothing too nothing too repetitive other than the normal things. I think it's important to know yourself, get some food. I need to eat breakfast. I know other people don't. I need to eat lunch. I know other people don't. I find that sugary snacks and caffeine are usually how I can get through the later rounds of a tournament, although that's less the concern with 8 rounds in day 1. And yeah, just know yourself.
What about you, Aaron? Can you think of any habits you've got?
I mean, kind of the same with the in-game music. I play the Gen 5 remix, the trainer battle song, every single
Nice.
time. And it's funny that you mentioned using the bathroom because I have a weird superstition that after round 1, I don't go to the bathroom for the whole Swiss rounds. And I don't know what it is. I don't
Wow.
know where it started, but it's just a weird superstition I have.
See,
You
I'm
just
the
gotta like
opposite. I have to go
go.
between every single round.
Yeah. I go pretty often as well. Definitely the nerves. Like I feel like it is like tournaments are like the ultimate like clean out your systems type of event. Like I don't know, I go there and I feel like, oh man, like I got everything taken care of. Um
Yeah.
Bringing it back to music though, I've been always doing Area Zero lately, and like I do like that track a lot. But I have kind of ruined it for myself now. Like sometimes I like just put on Nintendo radio, whether I'm like streaming here at home or just like hanging out doing chores and stuff like that. And if Area Zero comes on, my heart rate does like pick up. I'm just like, oh god, like it's tournament fight or flight type mode. I'm like, I can't listen to it anymore in normal circumstances, even though it's an excellent battle soundtrack. They also don't have it on the stream setup. I was a little disappointed, so I think I ended up doing Cassiopeia as well, Adi. But in my first stream set or my first game or whatever, it was like cranked up to beyond 100%. Like that song is loud, and it was so loud, it was just like painful. But
Dude,
the
the
judges heard me
stream this
complaining
week
about it.
was so loud.
Yeah, wasn't it?
So loud. It like hurt my ears. I had to ask like 5 times for them to turn it down.
Yeah. They were thankfully listening to feedback on that, at least in my case, where they were like, okay, like we're gonna turn this down for you. And I was just like, oh, I didn't know you were actually gonna come fix this, but thank God. Like this is just like actually the most painful part was not just the music, but there was some Pokemon's cry during my match against ESM where this Pokemon switched in and I was just like literally like wanting to cover my ears because it was hurting so badly. Oh man, it's amusing.
That's why Joe always has his hoodie on under the headphones, right?
Dude, I was saying that guy was cheating. I was just like, how is he gonna go away with this? Like, he's here in the crowd. The crowd's yelling like, "Go for sleep powder!" And I was just like, and Joe's like, I already know.
Gotta listen to it. When the crowd says go for sleep powder, you gotta go for sleep powder, right?
right.
Well, luckily Joe was on the stream side, so the crowd couldn't yell at him what moves I clicked.
That's true. Yeah. Anyways, though, let's go ahead and talk about Joe's team since we're just mentioning him here right now, and we gotta move down the line here. Joe running it back, I think almost exactly. I think he might have changed like a Terra type from LAIC, but otherwise, this is the team that Joe has been rocking with for a while now. And it's not the same as Marco's son, definitely not. This is a team that has no trick room element to it. It is all in on Tailwind from Jumpluff, some, a priority move, I guess, from King Gambit or so, but mostly, Tailwind, Jumpluff, Scale Shot, D-Knight, I guess, is another way to manage the speed. But yeah, it plays pretty differently, and everybody that was at the tournament here in this call got to experience it firsthand. Me and Aaron, maybe a little less happy to be playing against this team, but Carson at least came out on top. Yeah, this I don't know. Is there anything else to like note about this team to say anything about it? We've seen it before, so I'm curious if there's any like new thoughts or something about this team that you want to mention. I can start with one thing. Go ahead, Aaron.
Not necessarily a new thought, but it's something that I always like talk about whenever this team gets brought up. Is that Encore on Jumpluff might be the best move on the team? Like when I was theorying Marco, the matchup versus Marco's team in my head, I was like, as long as it doesn't have Encore, then I can like kind of get around it with protects and kind of reposition. But the Encore is just so oppressive, and it threw a wrench in my entire game plan. There was really nothing I could do.
Same here, same here. If I ever clicked, snarl with my Archaladon just to reduce the damage of the Typhlosion, then, I'm snarling again as King Gambit switches in, and, that can be really, really bad. So, you have to always be one step ahead, and you can't really be switching around on Sleep Powder because, what's worse than a Pokemon that is taking a one-turn sleep is a Pokemon that's starting at 0. If you get slept on the switch in, then you're just even sadder. And yeah, I think the other thing that with this team and with the Marco team that just like does really annoy me is that it's just so hard to practice against, and like with it, like the fact that unfortunately Showdown is always going to have the error, the inconsistency, whatever, where Intimidate and Eject Pack don't properly work on turn 1. You'll get switched out before the sun goes up. Means that players like Joe and Marco and anybody else running these teams, they also have a bit of a handicap in practicing it, but it means that it's also hard to get experience against it. It's a bit of a funny situation that way. But regardless, 2 strong Sun teams, you got to be ready for both at this point in the metagame.
One more thing I wanted to say on Joe's team was I think the Burning Jealousy Torkoal is really cool. I was trying to find a way to fit Burning Jealousy on my team. Just going into the weekend, I was completely wrong in my assessment of the metagame. I thought the Rios and Gomez team from LAIC was going to be everywhere, and I didn't really see it at this tournament, surprisingly, because it was all over Showdown. I guess I saw the Europeans practicing for Stuttgart, but Burning Jealousy is super strong into that team. Like it's great into Scale Shot Dragonite, into like coaching stuff. There's just a lot of like physical threats that are boosting pretty regularly this format. Like any of the Seed Sneaslers, all of that stuff just kind of gets shut down by Burning Jealousy Torkoal, or at least forces them to protect a turn, which kind of goes back to what Aaron was saying about the Encore jump bluff. I think that has some really nice synergy. Like you can't just like protect the first turn to dodge a Burning Jealousy burn. Like the Encore's there too. So
yeah, Burning Jealousy, a really, really cool move. Consistent accuracy wise, not quite the strongest base power wise, but yeah, there are so many setup moves. Scale Shot gives you a +1 speed, so you'll get caught there. And it would also technically burn an Archaladon, I believe, if it just gets hit by Burning Jealousy, because the stamina boost triggers, and then it probably happens afterwards, right? I don't think I've actually ever seen that one happen, but I would believe it.
I don't know, because
right, order of operations is a little weird there.
Well, the boost happens after the move hits, so does the move get to keep the effect afterwards? Like, would it work on weakness policy too?
It did work on weakness policy back in. We got to think about what it was like during the Dynamax days, right? Because that's when like weakness policy was most common. I feel like.
I mean, if it worked on weakness policy, it probably works on stamina.
Did it not work on weakness policy? I literally don't remember. I'm not remembering my mechanics for this move right now.
I feel like it might have worked on weakness policy, but I don't remember.
Honestly, for better, like we've all tried to push that knowledge out of our head because it is useless now, and it was the stupidest generation of VGC ever. So, let's go ahead and keep moving. Though there's a lot of teams to talk about, and
it doesn't burn. I looked it up on Bulbapedia. It says it happens before the weakness policy is consumed, like the burn check.
Joe, which one are you saying? Does Burning Jealousy burn a weakness policy, or does Burning Jealousy burn a stamina or arch? Those are the two we're wondering. Of course, maybe it's not something you do often enough that it's even like worth playing around, but still just curious. Oh, okay. So you haven't had that one happen. You don't think it does. Gotcha. Well, we'll have to, I guess, just think on that one a bit, or maybe see if somebody oh, okay, maybe Nerd and Owl will give it a try in-game. Let's go ahead and move on, though, to talking about Marcus's team. Very interested to see what you guys think about this one. I will say, though, really cool.
It loses to the team that won the regional, so I don't think it's very good.
Yeah, you're right.
That's very true. I did win that 50-50 last term game 3 of where the close combat was going, so... Love my 50-50s.
So, Carson, can you tell us a little bit about though the funny thing that you guys both led the same thing and both cheered? I know there was like a slightly funny story there, if you don't mind telling it.
Yeah, so we both led Electabuzz Sneasler, and I guess I'm giving away the team now, but Audie and I are gonna record a team report pretty soon with Marcus, so people will see the pace eventually. But our Electabuzz was actually 172 speed timid, which speed ties Adamant max speed Sneasler. And so when we led Buzz Sneasler on both sides, we had a 4-way speed tie on turn 1, which I don't know if that's ever been on stream before.
4-way speed tie. I'm trying to think. It was, if anything, it happened in like Gen 7 200 speed, like Coco Mega Gengar or something. I don't know. Those are like the ones that I could think of, but
Yeah,
usually you would.
I don't know if it's ever happened on both sides, though.
Right.
And most people
Right.
try not to make their Pokemon speed tie,
I
but
agree. Yep.
we wanted the max speed Buzz, and we wanted the reach from Adamant Sneasler, and it almost always has Unburden activated. So, like, the only time it ever comes up is in the mirror, because that's the only time you want to lead Buzz Sneasler. So we just thought it was funny that everything on the field was speed tying at once.
Oh, gotcha. The way that Marcus had told it to me was like, um, he was like, yeah, Carson didn't give me a lot of advice on how to play the mirror, but he did say, like, if you play the mirror, lead Electabuzz Sneasler, and then sure enough, you both did it. And so I was just,
I was really hoping he
that.
forgot that. Because if he had forgotten it and he had led like Sneasler and Didi into the mirror, I knew I was just gonna win game 1 for free.
Right.
So I told him it like only once, and I was really, really hoping that he forgot it going into that match.
Yeah, too funny. Anyways, the other team in top 4 was Akil's team here. And this team, like, I don't know, it just looks so out of place. It's crazy. Like, I just like, what format are we playing here? This one is so whack.
Yeah. I was looking at it on stream and I was just like, man, I hate so many choices on this team, but obviously it worked out really well. And I think it really speaks to his comfort with the team. He said he's been grinding this team basically the entire format or something along these lines. But yeah, there's some really, really interesting choices. The power herb Archaludon, normally you see it as Stalwart Terra Electric instead of Stamina Terra Dragon, which is so super out of nowhere. I never saw the Terra Dragon, but I was really hoping he would Terra Dragon versus Joe because it would resist a fire move, and he never brought it. I think it might still die knowing Archaludon, but I was waiting for that to happen. That's like the one crazy thing that's on the team, right? I think the rest of the team is this Caesar is a little weird, right? With Stellar, Terra, and no Protect. No Pollen Puff on the Amoonguss is very interesting. I feel like this is the type of team that really appreciates Pollen Puff, but he didn't need it. Yeah, so like just not a really a type of composition that we've seen before. But as far as like, metagame trends, I think he nailed it, right? Like there was no Rillaboom in top 16 of this tournament. That's something we'll probably talk about a little later. But Garchomp was a big overachiever, I think partially because of that. And with Sand doing as well as it did, I think that Corviknight was a really cool choice. And then Instant Shroom just did really, really well this tournament. It turns out that was the version of Balance that did significantly better than the sort of Rillaboom variants that we've seen do very well in Europe and over most of the last month or so. And so, yeah, I think it's just a really strong meta call, and he took it further than anyone else as far as people using the Instant Shroom type teams.
Q was really close to finals as well. I know Marcus and I talked to him backstage right after his top 4 match, and like he had just realized after coming off the stream that like there was a play that he could have made in like one of the last turns of game 3 that would have won him the set versus Joe. So definitely a team that could have gone even further. I think it was one of his first times on stream, and I know probably better than most how bad the stream jitters can get. Finally got over my 0-8 stream streak this weekend, so I feel him there, but I think it was a really strong team for this weekend.
That's all it
And
took. You just
notably,
needed one.
notably, Akil will also be recording a team report. I'm actually recording it right after Top Takes, so that'll be out sometime this week. And then, like I mentioned, Carson will be doing it with Carson and Marcus, and that'll be out sometime next week, hopefully. So look forward to those. But yeah, if you don't know Akil, I think this is his second regional. I met him at Los Angeles regionals last year, but he is also like a very, very good Smogon player. Like I think Nails came on and he was saying that he was like one of the best Smogon players from like 2016 to 2020. So certainly, like, yes, a VGC newcomer, but not a Pokemon newcomer, and a very, very accomplished Pokemon player. And yes, as someone mentioned in chat, he doesn't own a Switch. We were trying to recruit him to Team India, but he does not own a Switch to play in that tournament.
That's so funny.
How did he play this weekend? Did he borrow one?
He must have borrowed one.
That's awesome. That's awesome. The username, by the way, the plush was on stream, but Flaming Victini is right. That's the name. So if you're big into Smogon stuff, then maybe you've heard that name before. But yeah, I don't know. This team just feels like it's doing its own thing, and I think that also works well with the fact that he had been practicing it so much and was so familiar with it. And then like you said, some of the parts of it did line up well with Rillaboom being its usage being, or not usage, but it not having the strongest finish, Garchomp being able to prey on that. Yeah, it was cool to see. Let's see. Oh my gosh, the next team from David, not Hunter, but David Hutner. I have to double take every time I want to say this name. But David's team, though, like, David, you know that there's been like 2 DLCs, right? You know that like there are a lot of new Pokemon being added to Scarlet and Violet. And this guy's still stuck in Reg A. He upgraded his Arcanine to an Incineroar, and that's it. That's the only change that you need. It's just so funny to see. What move were we using on Pelipper back in Reg A in terms of water move? Were we using Weather Ball? I feel like we weren't.
Hydro Pump or Muddy Water. It didn't have Weather Ball until one of the DLCs.
Right.
Really?
Okay, so yeah, that sounds right. I was like, I thought we were just ripping Hydros. Yeah. So I guess that's something that's technically not Reg A here.
Well, Aaron was ripping Hydros, apparently. He ran Hydro at San Diego.
I was.
Yeah, I was just pulling it up. Jody also top forward with Hydro Pump.
Right. I figured Hydro was the one.
Oh yeah, yep. I don't think it got Muddy Water until the DLC either, because I also had Hydro Pump.
No, I think it always had Muddy. I think it. What? Maybe.
All 20 out of 21 Pelipers at San Diego had Hydro Pump.
Maybe it really didn't have Muddy then, huh?
I don't think it did. People would have run that over.
You're right.
Hydro Pump.
I mean, like, the reason most people don't run Muddy is because of accuracy concerns, and Hydro Pump has plenty of those already. So, okay, amusing. But yeah, this team, it's just so crazy. I think. How did David start? Let me pull it up on the schedule one, because David was up there, and I was like, when I looked at the results after day 1, yeah, 7-1. I was like, I could play this tomorrow. What am I even looking at? Like, why? What? It's so crazy to see Palafin still doing it. I would have loved. Did David get to play on stream, Audie? I actually didn't look.
I don't remember. I don't think I saw him on stream. Yeah, I don't think he did.
I'll check Victory Road's page for it, but go ahead.
No, someone says he did. David was on stream. Maybe he was just on stream for top 8? Was that it? Or he didn't bring Palafin?
Played against Akil?
Sure.
Okay.
But notably, David had one of the weirdest runs of Pokemon I've ever seen, because he played one Dragonite the entire tournament. That was in top 16 against Don Check. He didn't play a Dragonite until top cut.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm looking at his run right now, and he played so many weird Pokemon. His one loss was, besides top 8, was to Life Orb Gardevoir.
I played this person. I played the Life Orb Gardevoir. I think in my last round. I guess I can check here. Yeah, my last round.
Yeah.
Day 1. Yeah, that team. It also features no Direclaw Sneasler, by the way, from Matthew here. I remember after I had won that match. They were like, I'm just happy to prove that Sneasler doesn't need Dire Claw. And I was just like, I don't know. I think you could still use it. Like, I think, like, obviously, I think Acrobatics is fun. I think Acrobatics is actually pretty solid and maybe a little underexplored. Some players did use it at this tournament. But I think Dire Claw is still a pretty good move.
I mean,
anyways.
I kind of get it. If you think that Acrobatics is the call for Sneasler, then it does hit a lot of the same Pokemon. But
right.
Yeah, it's it's a good move. It's okay. I've heard people say that Dire Claw is a solid move.
Yeah, right? I don't know. I mean, the main thing is like, we're just in a format where dragons are so strong, and it's so easy to pair poison damage to hit the fairies with dragon. So, but yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else to say about David's boomer-looking team? Like, it's just otherwise doing things that we've seen on other teams in this format. You know, like we've seen Pelipper, Incinemungus, Gold, usually used with like Archaladon, Basculegion, or something like that. Like, you know, more modern rain cores, but you know, we can still use the old fish and the old dragon, I guess.
I think it was funny to see how many people picked up Terra Ghost Hydreigon this tournament. I mean, we really haven't seen a Hydreigon at all since Dortmund, where it kind of like came out of nowhere to win, and then that team fully retreated back into the shadows after that tournament. But like I was considering it myself for this tournament, especially like the safety goggles one, because that Mon just like walls all of Marco Sun. And I think that's exactly what Kalen used this tournament was the safety goggles Terra Ghost. Like Ursaluna can't damage you, you can't be put to sleep, like you resist all the fire attacks with like pretty decent special defense. Like you have Snarl to drop the Zard's special attack. Like I think people were building in a way where they really expected the Marco Sun to catch on. And I don't think it did. I think it's just a team that's too difficult to practice with and too difficult to play at a high level. I think the risk reward like thinking process for like when should I be clicking a accurate move or an inaccurate move, and like when should I sleep powder or tailwind or rage powder, it's just like most people aren't good enough at like weighing those options to not just like turn the team into a lottery simulator. And I think that's kind of why we didn't see a whole lot of it this weekend.
Yeah, I wouldn't want, if I was, you know, going into this tournament with a bad Sun matchup, I would hope not to play it like more than twice at least. You know, that would be a tough thing to do, you know, especially if you played Joe twice, like with a rain team. Would be that
would be horrible.
That would be horrible. Don't wish that fate on anyone.
Well,
I know that we have talked about a lot of the top teams, but I do want to jump to Jonathan Duran's really quick, just because I love what Jonathan said here. Said, you know, Marco, I get it. You had your run, but I'm going to show you how to really do it. I've got the better version here, featuring Bronzong instead of the P2. And you might look at it just, you know, in the 6 Mons and be like, you know, well, dang, that's a Bronzong. But also, it's not just any Bronzong. You know, we can't stop there. It's Stealth Rock's Bronzong with Ice Spinner. It's honestly, it's insane. They made some other small changes too. Like Mirror Orb on the Ensign, I guess, you know, blending some teams that we saw in LAIC, and Blast Burn on Charizard, which I can't remember. Somebody who played them told me that they clicked it against him, the Blast Burn. Maybe it was against Rock.
What does Overheat not Oko in Sun?
Right, I don't know.
Blast Burn would.
They needed both. Oh my god! Look out, he's gonna Dynamax.
The last move is kind of a flex slot, right? You're not. Oh my god! It says Blast Bird Oko's Instant. That's what John said in chat. So that's
okay.
the answer, I guess.
Wow.
But the last move is a flex slot, right? I don't think Marco ever clicked Dragon Pulse in his Dank run, and I don't know if he ever clicked Air Slash. I think at LAIC. So you kind of have some room to play with that slot at least.
I ran Marco's team at a midseason last week and was clicking Air Slash way too much, and that move is just not nearly as good as the fire ones.
Right. I think that sounds right. That tracks. All right. So Carson ended up talking a little bit. Go ahead.
One quick thought on this while we're on it. You mentioned Stealth Rock. Pengi also ran Stealth Rocks on Garganackle. I just had a team report with him on the channel today. And he really sold me on Stealth Rocks, especially if your team wants to win the Weather War. It has some, like, obviously it's actually really good into this Zards on teams, Typhlosions on teams. They can't bring in their fire types very safely. They just take half, right? Or Charizard takes half. And then on top of that, like, it has a really cool interaction with weather, where if your Torkoal is under 25% HP, and you switch it in, or your Ninetales is under 25% HP and switch it in, it dies before Drought activates. And so it actually is a very cool tech. Same with Pelipper, right? So every single weather setter being weak to Stealth Rocks means that it actually is like a pretty cool tech on these teams that need to win the Weather War to consistently win the Weather War.
It's kind of funny. Carson was kind of like, I feel like every singles players is like, yeah, of course. I know that I have to get rid of rocks to switch in my Pelipper and get up the rain. If it's at low health.
I had no clue. And I ran
Right.
Stealth Rocks at the regional that Nails got top 8 with it at.
Right. It is kind of funny that way. If you're like, I actually completely randomly, but I was just practicing some best of one earlier, and a Garchomp got up Stealth Rocks on me, and I switched out my Pelipper at, like, less than 25, and I was like, wait, I'm gonna die to the rocks, and I'm not even gonna be able to get up rain again. Like, it is actually just such a funny mechanic. But yeah, let's we might come back down to Pengi's in a bit, or otherwise, I also put out the team report on that one. So let's actually jump back up to top 8 though and talk about a different type of rocks. Sand. Carson talked about playing Eric against is it Eric, by the way? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Eric ended up running the, like, funniest looking 2-2-2. I don't know, like, I didn't know we were still 2-2-2ing. Usually it involves a Dondozo somewhere in there, but we've got Mouse Ape, Sand, Psy-Spam. Like, what is happening here?
This was also Eric's first tournament since 2017, I believe.
Based.
So he came back, ran the most devious 2-2-2 team I've ever seen, and top 8'd. And honestly, if I hadn't like won every single 50-50 in top 8 versus him, I think he would have won the tournament, because he would have played me and then immediately played Marcus Dion on the same team where he has like an amazing matchup, and then played Joe on Sun where he had, that's like a Lentar, so that Tyranitar is not dying that game.
That is so amusing. I mean, like, Tyranitar was kind of the call for this tournament, it felt like. I don't know if that many people got to pull it off. I know that ESM also had a solid run, not quite making it into the cut, but still a 8-3 run with the Tyranitar. And yeah, I mean, it is just kind of like a natural reaction to, like, oh, everyone's going crazy with Charizard, like, let me bust out my trusty old Tyranitar. I don't know. This team is so scary though. It's so crazy looking.
You say that Sand or Tyranitar was the play for this tournament, but Eric was the only one in top cut with it, and a lot of good players brought it, right? Like ESM obviously brought it, missed out on top cut, going 8-3. And then the Yotam, Karis, we saw.
Do you want me to say that team was good though? Like, they had Specs Kilowattrel. Like, guys, I
agree. I thought their team was kind of bad, and I think that when you have 4 players of their caliber running the team, you'd expect better results out of it. But
I'd expect better teams, guys. Come on.
I don't know. Just like a lot of people thought that T-Tar was the play. Rafa used it, didn't do super well. Len used it after doing really well at LAIC, didn't do very well, right? Like, it feels like a lot of good players brought T-Tar, and then they all kind of ate shit.
I mean, sure. T-Tar Ekka was the play into the 2 finalist teams, I will say. I mean, maybe Joe had a better matchup plan than I did, but my matchup plan wasn't the best. It was more just like win 8 50-50s in a row, and maybe you'll win the game. So,
see, if I was running Tyranitar, it would have been different. I'm,
true. I agree.
But yeah, this team, honestly, I mean, congrats to Eric though. That was for such a strong finish after a comeback, and after not playing for so long with a team like this. I don't know, it just looks diabolical. If I got handed the sheet for this, I would just be annoyed. I would just be like, "What are you doing? Like, what are we doing here?"
I was so mad round 7 when he handed me the
Right?
sheet. So mad.
Right? All right. Kalen's team here is honestly pretty boring. You know, we've seen some teams like this do well earlier in the format. Not seeing a lot of P2 balance do well. You can't really call Marco's son P2 balance. But yeah, this one, it does feature the Hydreigon again. And this Garchomp is taking out some of the Dragonite tech, running the loaded dice scale shot. I do think that's a really cool way to run Garchomp. We were talking about it doing pretty poorly against Dragonites, being able to just shrug off the hit with multi-scale. And so Garchomp's just like, I'm going to break your multi-scale as well. And if they Terra Fairy and they get that play wrong, Dragonite being, able to get hit by Earthquake or something like that can be a pretty solid detriment to it, as well as the Golden Go, obviously, covering for the Fairy Terras. So yeah, this team, not Alex calling another team boring. All right, you know what? Fair, but like, I'm not trying to say my team's Heat. I'm not trying to say my team is Heat. I think this is terribly boring. Anybody else have anything to say about this one?
Not really.
I do not believe in Goggles Hydreigon. I know Carson just talked it up. I've tested that before. I think it's kind of bad. I looked at Kalen's run, and I think it's just maybe like West Coast regionals are inherently kind of janky, right? Because he also played a lot of jank, but like he did not do all that well into Amoonguss teams, all things considered. He beat basically everything except for the Amoonguss teams, and then went like, I think it's 2-2, maybe 3-2 against Amoonguss overall. Right, but like, I don't know. Just like, I get Hydreigon is supposed to be really good into Sun specifically, and it is very good into Sun specifically. But when you choose that as your Goggles Mon, it's like you're kind of opting into a really difficult time in the Instant Shroom Mirror. Is my like one big take about this team.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you that I don't think that Hydreigon is good either, besides the Sun matchup. Like, I thought about using it, and like, Snarl, Dracometer, Tailwind, Hydreigon, just like, it doesn't do a lot of damage unless you click Draco, and then you got like your one attack off, and now you don't do any more damage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of things on paper, but every single time I've tested it, it's so underwhelming in like every single way.
Yep.
Oh, so everyone's thought about this Hydreigon except me. I don't know, man. I never even got to this one. Everyone's just like, yeah, been there, done that. I don't know. I just never actually thought to try it. I do remember though, ESM used a Terraghost Hydreigon in the second GC. He brought that team to a local, played against the like Ursaluna P2 balance stuff, Terraghosted it, and he said he like won like Hydreigon 1v4 in like 20 plus turns. Like, it's just like they can't break Ghost Hydreigon. So he just like clicked Snarl, took 3 turn sleeps, clicked Snarl, took 3 turn sleeps. Like, it just like, I don't know, he somehow managed to win that one. But yeah, that set is super good into other balance teams, and also I guess Sun. Let's jump to the last top 8 here. Nothing new to see here, but Aaron, you ended up making it to the top 8 here with the Elizabeth Rain team. You might have made a change or two of your own, but yeah, why don't you talk to us a bit about it?
Yeah, I mean, I had kind of the same pre-tournament prep experience as Carson was talking about. I didn't really play much since the second GC, and then I realized about like a week and a half, 2 weeks before the tournament, like, oh, I have a tournament. I need a team for this. And I was testing a bunch of kind of wacky stuff, and everything felt kind of garbage. So I kind of just talked to Victor, who got second at LASC with the team, and I was like, "Do you think this is good for SAC?" And he's like, "I don't know, maybe." And I was like, "Okay, good enough." I tested it. It was the only thing that felt decent. I made the change to Dragon on Ursaluna because on paper I thought it might help with the Sun matchup. I still got smoked twice, so who knows?
Right.
It was super nice in a lot of my other matchups. It made Ursaluna bringable into the Rain Mirror, which was super nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kept getting killed by the Electabuzz Blood Moon stuff on ladder, so I put Wide Guard and Pelipper like the night before the tournament. I was like, I hope this works if I play it, and I didn't play it, but
That's probably me on ladder. If they were leading Electabuzz Bloodman into you, that's probably me. Or Brok, yes.
I've seen other people do it, Carson. You can't take all the credit there. I've seen the
We did play a lot of
There's-
ladder games that 1 week before the tournament, though. I will
Fair.
say.
There's only like 2 leads for your entire team. Everyone's leading the same thing. You're not
That's
the only one
true,
on the ladder
that's
using
true.
that team.
Hey, we
Um,
didn't play like any mirrors the week leading up to regionals, so I think there's a good chance it was us.
I
Which
got
is
you.
weird because I played like 30 mirrors the week before LAIC of people running that
Mhm.
team, but I
Mhm.
think that was probably all Hoj.
Yes, yeah, and I think a lot of people also got scared off of the archetype after seeing OE doubled loss to Sun. Lost to it in the first
Yeah.
round and then also to Marco. So people were like, I don't know about this. Anyways, though, how was Wide Guard, in other matchups? Was it still holding its own, I guess?
No, it was really nice. I played Brian Collins in day one, and it was kind of the only reason I won because he couldn't touch my Dragonite like with anything. He had Dazzle, he had Expanding Force, he had like the Torkoal with the fire or water weather ball. And I played a Typhlosion also in day one, and it was nice against that.
Mm-hmm.
Weiger was really good. I was impressed with how good it was. I didn't miss the second Tailwind. Well, I missed it sometimes, but
Right.
Wideguard was a lot better than I anticipated it being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also was considering it in testing when I was considering running the same team, and ultimately ended up running basically the exact same thing. So, and you also did the power gem change as well. Thinking like hey, this hits Charizard. Let's put this on there just to scare him.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if I never got the power gem at Charizard. I clicked power gem 0 times actually. I don't think I clicked it once. Anyways, did you end up clicking it at all?
I clicked it, I think, one time into Joe's Jumpluff. It did like 55, and then it died to King Gambit. And I was like, okay, well, that didn't do anything.
Yeah, I don't know if it ever scared it off the Charizards. No, I don't think. I think maybe it made him not lead it as often though, which is maybe like something. But yeah. Anyways, were there any like notable sets in your run that you thought you want to talk about, like 1 or 2 that were like super interesting? You did play against the colossal person. I think didn't this person beat Alberto? Let me go look. Yeah, they did. They beat Alberto in the second round. Alberto was like, dude, I just got cooked by this colossal team. He's like, Terra Fire, weakness policy. I couldn't do anything.
That's really funny. Yeah, they didn't bring the Colossal or the Weavile against me, but I saw the team sheet and I was terrified. I was like, what is this? I'm gonna get cooked. Even though I have Rain, I have Wide Guard. Like on paper I had so many things, but I was like, I'm gonna get cooked by this, and this is gonna be awful. But they didn't end up bringing it, so it was okay. My match against Brian, I guess, was notable because I didn't think I was actually talking to him like either right before pairings went up or the round before, and I was like, I hope I don't play you because I don't think I have a size span matchup. And he was like, going to a California regional with no size span matchup is very stupid. And I was like, yeah, I agree. No. But I just kind of had to play like a psychopath, and I got a lot of turns right. Um, Specifically in game two, I was like, okay, I led Golden Go Ursaluna, and I was like, if he just doesn't Terra Grass with the Gallade, I think I win instantly. I just Terra Flying and make it rain Earthquake. And he Terra'd, I was like, oh crap, I think I just lose. But I just attacked with Ursaluna on the second turn, and he targeted Golden Go, and I got a double KO with Earthquake, and then I just won from there.
You just gotta be willing to risk it all against those size spam teams, of course.
Yeah.
So that totally makes sense. And then, yeah, you ultimately ended up playing Joe at the end of day 1 and then losing to Joe in top 8. I know somebody else who had a similar fate. Yeah. The Sun matchup with this team it's going to need some work, I think.
Yeah, no, the Dragon Ursaluna, well, I think I was telling you about this the other day. It gave me a little bit more maneuverability. And I was joking around with Joe about this after our day 1 set. In game 3, he got a 3-turn sleep. And I was like, you made some very good calls in game 1 and game 3, but I'm still gonna go around and tell everyone you got a 3-turn sleep on me. But yeah, in our top 8 set, he just smoked me both games. I had no chance.
Tough. Yeah.
By the way, we do have an update on the burning jealousy thing from Native now. It will not burn if you proc a weakness policy or stamina.
Oh wow, okay. Honestly, I'm surprised by the stamina one. Weakness policy was a bit of a weird case, but that is super good to know. Thanks for going and testing that. Yeah, that's like honestly, sometimes that burn on our Chaladon is super real. You know, like I'm just like I want to be able to body press something, and my damage is halved. So that I can say that it is in fact pretty real. You know, we were just talking about Brian Collins. Brian Collins ended up getting 9th in the tournament here. With like the most basic psi spam. We said that somebody always has to do it on the West Coast, and yeah, it was Brian here using what is just like, you know, psi spam. I would say the main thing that like, you know, separates this from maybe your typical psi spam is the fact that there's a mouse hold here. Usually there's one Pokemon that I think maybe Carson was saying it earlier, you know, like it adds a speed sandwich element to the team. And so Mousehold is the fast Pokemon here, which, you know, if you're not going to be able to get up Trick Room right away, well, you know, at least Mousehold is threatening massive damage with Technician Wide Lens, and it also has some very good support moves that a Trick Room team would love to have, whether it's, you know, taunting an Amoonguss so it can't sleep your Pokemon, or taunting a taunt so they can't taunt your Trick Room, follow meing a taunt so that, you know, you can get up that Trick Room. Mouse has got a lot of different ways that it can help out a Trick Room team, but also just like take KOs. That's also a very strong element of Technician Pop Bomb.
Yeah, I like it more than Zoroark, which is what people seem to be running a lot of for some reason. But yeah, Mouse is just a better Pokemon. Go ahead.
I do think it's kind of funny that Brian Collins only had 2 losses the whole tournament, and we're both on the call right now.
Oh, true.
He did have a very good tournament though, like only 1 Swiss loss. I think it was a good call for the tournament. Obviously, he's used this type of team for as long as it's been around, so.
Right. I mean, also the right call for himself, you know, like just knowing what type of teams you do well with is an important thing. Mouse fixes the imprisoned DD matchup. Yeah, no, it's good into that one. But it not if they're Terra Ghost, man. Remember Carson running this stupid Terra Ghost? Oh, you're right, it's still taunts. You're right. I remember you running Terra Ghost for Mouse back. What tournament was it? Was it Louisville?
Yeah, that's Louisville.
That was so funny. I was just
like, dude, it won me 2 sets. There's so many Mousehold that tournament.
I mean, that is just so amusing because like the Mon, like running Terra Ghost on your Psychic Surge setting Pokemon just feels so wrong. It's just like you already stopped Fake Out. Like, what are we doing here? You stop Extreme Speed. Like, I don't know. But of course, it's a very different reason. Anyways, though, yeah, not a lot to say about this team besides the Mousehold, and that it was a good call for the weekend. You know, a lot of people just say, you know, I'm just not going to play anybody good running psi spam. I will simply skill death. That's what I always say, at least, you know. And yeah, I didn't end up having to face it, so I can't say how it would have went, but definitely a scary one to be seeing piloted by somebody who knows what they're doing. Yeah, it is a boring team. Like, this is a team that's been around since Reg A. Like, what do you want me to say? There's no, Ursaluna wasn't there.
And like, speaking of psi spam, we've seen a few different psi spam variants go around, right? We've seen the Delphox psi spam ate shit, not a single one made day 2. Seen a lot of Armorogue psi spam, and Armorogue, there was one player in day 2. It was Brandon Davis, who had the Abomasnow, which you might get a chance to talk about. And then, but you know, neither of them. And then that was the only one in day 2. And surprisingly, like very little. I didn't see any Executor at all. I was looking through it. Only like 6 people brought it. I'm actually honestly a little surprised people haven't explored it that more. I thought this would be the regional that we'd see some more Eggy, some more people trying to steal that team and innovate on it. But yeah, like like surprisingly little size spam for a West Coast regional, and really the Hatteran version was the one that did well this tournament. I think it was the right
people
call.
are calling my team size spam for some reason, so I guess it won the tournament still.
True.
I feel like you have
yeah.
to have 2 though for it to be really size spam.
Right. Yeah. Then it's just like sigh, sneeze. I don't know. It's just Sneasler and Ndidi. Ndidi male was higher than Ndidi female at this tournament by like by 5 uses, I think, for ones that earn championship points. So pretty amusing there where we are currently. Fast size spam, yeah, that's like one way to refer to it. I don't know, it's weird.
I think it should just be called Ndidi Sneasler.
And Ndidi Sneasler is usually what I'm referring to it as well. All right, so any other teams in the top 16 that we should touch on that are, because I don't know, there's like, Chase is the next player that we haven't talked about, but it is like mostly just a rain team we've seen before. Dylan Clark's is the same team, close to Carson, but just the previous version. No, not the previous version. That's an Archaladon version instead of D-Knight. My bad.
You get one flex slot on this team, and he chose to put an Archaludon in there.
Sure.
Yep.
And then Hunter. This is actually Hunter. I was trying to read it as Hutner again, but this is their first name. They are in fact a Hunter. It's Hunter.
Yeah. So the top 16 doesn't. I mean, there's a lot of like of the Elizabeth Rain team in top 16. Right. Joji used it. You used it, Alex. But both of you guys used it in call, and then Don also used it to get top 16. So like that team was everywhere. There was another one. I think there was another one in top cut. Maybe not. Yeah, I guess not. So that team really did overachieve, even though
Aaron Trailer was the other one.
Rough matchup. Yes, Aaron Trailer used it. Yeah, so there's a bunch of it in top cut. Definitely a really strong call. One of the stronger teams going to this tournament, but we've already kind of talked about it. I'm very curious what you guys think about that team moving forward into the metagame, because obviously it does do pretty poorly into the Sun teams that have been everywhere, but it also, I think, was the biggest overachiever in the tournament in terms of like placement.
I think that the team is still relatively solid. I think that like a lot of teams are going to have as this format has developed, we've seen, teams become more like there's more strong teams in the format. There's like, and they're becoming deadlier and deadlier and deadlier. And so being able to cover every single archetype that is potent and strong is not really feasible. It's going to be about covering the teams that are strong and common is the main thing. And so, yeah, when it comes to running a team like this, like, I told myself, I was like, I will just simply beat literally everything else but Sun and do my damn best against Sun. And that is what I did. I didn't lose to anything besides Sun. And so I do think that like, I'm gonna explore all kinds of options for Toronto, the next, regional for me and for most NA players. But if I had to go back to this, would I feel that bad? No, like I just would accept that, as long as somebody who's, going deep with Sun doesn't just run the whole gauntlet again and then find me 3 times, I'll just take my chances. Of course, if Sun gets more common, then that's not really as feasible. We'll have to see how many people, take and run with it. Because I think Carson made some good points about Sun earlier, is that it's not only a difficult team to pilot, a difficult team to practice. And so, and also it will have a target on its back. People will be looking to come up with, ways to beat Sun, whether it's just teching on a safety goggles Incineroar, something a bit more dedicated like a Tyranitar, or something more in the middle, like a Saraledge or some other, like, interesting Pokemon that can be good against Sun teams. And so, yeah, I think the otherwise though the team is strong. We saw Joji also, ran the team with the Sun tech in Incineroar, and I don't think Joji ended up playing against any Sun.
Joji lost to Eric in top 16 off of it was a 4-hit skill shot. If he got 5 or any of the 4 hits crit, he won game 3, but he got 4 hits, no crits, and so Eric won.
Just basically a coin flip, I guess, like a slightly funny coin flip, because like you can miss the coin, like you can like flip the coin and it goes into the sewer and you lose 10% of the time. You can get any crit like you said, but what is actually the odds of getting one crit on 4? It's
like 22%, I think.
23, because I know, wait, is it already that high? I know Mousehold has a 34% chance to get one crit. Is one crit and 4 hits?
Is crit 6% chance normally?
4. It's 4 something, right? Because it's not, because it's it's 23 and 24
so it's
to the power
0.96
of
to the 4th. So you have an 85% chance to not crit in 4 hits, so you have 15% chance to crit.
15% chance. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's pretty real.
Yeah.
I crit my own arch a lot. I don't know. Did you crit your own arch a lot, Aaron? I feel like I was just always doing it. I was just like, it's a little annoying, but it's not that bad.
A couple times, yeah.
It's
Never
gonna
on the
happen.
first hit either.
No, true. The first hit,
I got at least one boost.
Yeah. And you're just like, ooh, that did a little more than I wanted. Anyways, we're gonna be fine. I was gonna say one more thing really quick though, is that I actually never missed my own arch. Thankfully, I was always watching for it. It has a bit of a delay because side attacks aren't always animated, and so there's like no animation. It just like takes a second and then starts doing the little like buffer sound hit effect. But I never actually missed my own arch with a scale shot, but I was always nervous about it. I was always trying to like, I don't actually play around like missing scale shot on my opponent that much, but every time I was scale shotting myself, I was like, dude, do I lose the game if I miss? I can't risk this. Kind of funny. What were you gonna say though, Adi?
Yeah, I was kind of change the topic a little bit, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of talking about obviously always great to talk about the teams that did well. I also want to talk about some of the underachievers. Because there were some notable underachievers in this tournament. Namely, Rillaboom was the one I had mentioned a little earlier. There was not a single Rillaboom in top 16. There were a few in top cut that lost in the top 32 round. And by that I mean there was 2 that lost in the top 32 round. So yeah, just a really big underachiever. And I have a couple others highlighted, but what do you guys think about that? Is Rillaboom washed? Is it overrated?
I feel like it's still pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder if it's just like a function of the players who brought Rillaboom. I don't feel like it's gotten worse, but I guess like with Incineroar becoming more of a thing in the metagame, I know for some weird reason, kind of towards the start of Reg H, it wasn't being used as much as it probably should have been, considering it's Incineroar. Which definitely hurts it. But I really just think it's probably a function of the players who brought it. Like if the top players aren't using it, especially at like a West Coast event, it's not going to go as far.
Yeah, I think Rillaboom is still like a good mod and has so many good traits, so many good qualities. But I will say that when I test it, like it's so unfriendly. The meta is so unfriendly to Rillaboom right now. There are so many things that resisted or quad resisted or like the don't care about fake out, don't care about the grass damage, enjoy the grassy terrain healing themselves. Like it's a good mon and it helps in a lot of matchups, but there are a lot of times where I was testing it and I was like, this thing like I can't bring it into this matchup that I want to bring it because it can't touch 3 out of or even 4 out of the 6 mons that my opponent might even bring.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense with like Arch and D-Knight and like Incineroar and all these Pokemon that are just so strong into it. I mean, Sun just obliterates Rillaboom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's just kind of the nature of being a grass type, right? Is that it's one of the most resisted offensive types. It's a type that has 5 weaknesses itself. It makes a bit of sense that it's going to feel uncomfortable, but I don't think that like we're going back to Stuttgart this weekend, so we're gonna see like 7 out of 8 teams have Rillaboom in the top 8. But I think that this is just a fluke. I honestly I don't think that there's like that much to read into this. I think that things could have shaken out very differently. And I do think that still some of the top teams have like Rillaboom can have a strong case against those teams, whether it's coming against the Indeedis that are doing well to reverse their terrain, or coming out against the Earthquake spammers, whether it's Garchomp or Excadrill. It's going to be happy to keep the team safe from those. So yeah, I don't think Rillaboom's doing poorly for itself. I think it's still excellent, and yeah, just kind of just randomly shook out this way. Me personally, though, like, yeah, it's not a Pokemon that I'm that interested in using that often, but mostly because I don't know, I just like more like distinguished Pokemon. I like my Pokemon to do like more specific things, and Rillaboom feels like a very like generic guy, I guess. I don't know, like that's just like a vibe thing, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, also, I think part of it is the Basque Legion rain was not the rain team that was as common. We saw a lot of more Elizabeth rain, which is a little worse into, right? So that's part of it as well. But yeah, I guess, I mean, also on the other hand, like it's really good in Sand, and we saw a Sand team do really well. So I don't know. It's definitely got some matchups where it's better and some matchups where it's worse. I guess the other Pokemon that underachieved, and this is one of Rillaboom's best friends, is Volcarona. We saw a lot of Volcarona at LAIC, and then not a single Volcarona in Top Cut, and only one that went 8-3, which was ESM, who went 8-3 with Volcarona, and then we got a whole bunch of players who went 7-4 with Volcarona. Most notably,
worth noting that
Cedric
ESM
Radier.
isn't even like traditional Volcarona,
Mm-hmm. And so after Volcarona, especially that like Terra Fairy Volcarona set that has been everywhere for the last month or so. That, I mean, part of it maybe is the players who brought it. With Cedric being maybe the most notable player who brought that sort of team. But yeah, it entirely fell off this tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that is pretty real. It was feeling like not the strongest in my testing. I guess there's a lot of annoying things for it. Like Volcarona loves to flip the matchup against the dragons by running this Terra Fairy set, but like, what are you doing when a wave crash is coming at you boosted by the rain, or a heat wave is boosted by the sun? Like, maybe we'll see I know that Aaron featured it on his Ursaluna, but maybe we'll see a resurgence in Terra Dragon. Not quite what maybe not on like Pokemon like Archaladon, but Pokemon that love to run more like defensive Terras, whether it's like Annihilate running a Terra Dragon. I think that was on Eric's team as well, Terra Dragon Annihilate. So yeah, if Rain and Sun are two of the strongest forces in the metagame, aside from like Tailwind HO Psy Spam. Looking at you, Carson, I think that Terra Dragon is a pretty solid choice. And I mean, Buzz also had that on your team, right, Carson? Terra Dragon Buzz, for probably that reason.
Yeah, it was for Sun and Rain, mostly for like Terra Water banned Wave Crash from Basque Legion. You can like just EV to live that with a Terra Dragon and then get a webs off. I do think one thing that's interesting in the Rillaboom conversation that Mont mentioned in chat is that there's really no water types in the metagame right now. Like if you look in top 8, it's just Aaron's Pelipper and the Palafin from David. And like in top 16, it's just Pelippers and one Basque Legion. Like top 32, there's like a solo Dondozo and one Primarina from ESM. There's just like not good water types. Like Primarina kind of sucks. Solo Dozo is good in like very specific circumstances.
Wait, it's
Well,
not
actually, there
Solo
wasn't.
Dozo, is it?
Yeah, no, there's
that's
no
Jake's,
Solo
right?
Dozos. That's
Yeah.
Jake. Yeah, there was a Solo Dozo. Nope, the one at 33rd is Tatsu as well. I guess Pingy was the first Solo Dozo. But it's just like the water types aren't good. I was trying to fit a water type on my team, like when I was using the Basque Legion, and like that was really the only option. Like if you want like a fast-paced water type attacker for your team, like there's just really no options.
And that did pretty well in LAIC, but we didn't see it do that well here, right?
There was a top 4. I think it was Renzo's team. Renzo had the Terra Fairy, Terra Blast, Scarf Basque Legion. That's where I took the set from that I was bringing up until 9 p.m. the day before the tournament.
Let me see.
I
I'm
think
trying to find. You can't on Cut Explorer filter by like not with Pelipper, but I'm scrolling down and it's Pelipper, 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 Pelipper. I get all the way down to Alex Landry's team here in top 128. That was the, I think, highest finishing non-rain bass, which is crazy to see, actually, considering it had literally just come off of a top 4 in LAIC.
Yeah, and I think Renzo's team was really strong too. I'm pretty surprised we didn't see more of that coming into this tournament, just because I think that was one of the easier teams to pick up and pilot as well. Like, at least for me, like looking at that team, it made sense. I tried it myself. I think it was a really strong team, and I'm just surprised. Like, all of the mods on that team really weren't present in this tournament. Like, there's no Bax, no Rolla, no Bask, no Volcarona, like nothing.
Yeah, I was gonna say a team like that probably also doesn't play that differently than what most people are used to on, like, you know, Sneasler balance type stuff. Like, you know, it changes around some of the sets, but yeah, it seems like, yeah, I think it mentioned in the chat here it's linked to Rilla / Volcarona. Like, it is just like a lot of like what is it? Similar archetype Pokemon not doing well. So, like, you know, all the same style of team just kind of performing pretty poorly here.
That kind of tracks with how the West Coast normally plays Pokemon, though, I think.
I think that's it. Part of it is that you were talking about, you know, what do the good players bring, and that's like part of it is that, you know, who brought the Pokemon is very important. We did see, I think that's like if the good players of the tournament aren't bringing Rillaboom teams, or they aren't bringing these Volcarona teams, then it's probably going to underperform a little bit. And just in general, the field in West Coast tournaments tends to bring a lot of jank.
I think somebody had said once that if you like drew a line between like Europe and Asia and then started like Europe going west, the further west you go, the more degenerate the teams get, ending in like, you know, like Japan or so, where like, you know, the teams get pretty wild. West Coast here, US, we're pretty wild. The East Coast a little more boring. Europe as boring as it gets. Man, I'm really excited to see what happens in Stuttgart. That like there was some good, you know, shots being fired. Looking at the top cut here, not the top cut, but like the teams that made day 2. Apparently, a Cyclizar made it through. We should probably take a quick look at that guy.
Yeah, I was sitting next to him round 1, day 2, and he was talking about his team. I thought the idea was actually pretty cool, like reviving yourself so you can set more substitutes for your team. He played Pingy, and Pingy said the matchup was like actually really difficult.
Josh was actually in the chat here. Well, congratulations on such a solid run with the bike that you see riding around Scarlet and Violet. Not the one that you ride, but, you know, just like, oh my gosh, it's so amusing.
The one that everyone else rides.
Yeah.
No, I was laughing because I said this team looks like an in-game team. This looks like the team that I used to get to the story. But also, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I think it's a. I was talking to Pengi about it in the team report as well, because I do think, you know, people were kind of unfairly ragged on it. It is very creative. It's not something we've seen yet, and it does like it does one thing, but it does that one thing really well. And if you don't like, if you're reliant on certain things to beat Dozo, you probably will not beat it, right? Like, I think Pengi said that at one point he had a Dozo behind a substitute next to a Tatsukiri behind a substitute, which is pretty crazy, right? So yeah, no, I think it's a really cool team.
I would be shitting my pants in that situation. Life Orb on the Dozo as well. So if you thought you're like ready to take a +2 wave crash, here's a little extra modifier on that. That's terrifying. So interesting. Yeah, that team is nuts. But yeah, we probably should get to previewing Stuttgart soon, and then, you know, Calc is right. So are there any other teams in day 2, top 32, whatever, that we haven't gotten to that you think we need to mention at this point? Ones that stand out to you guys? If you guys have any that you played against or you can think of course, you know, feel free to mention them. I'll take a quick glance through and see if there's anything that I remembered I wanted to talk about.
Pull up the Abomasnow. You got to pull up the Abomasnow.
I played the Abomasnow in the last round of day 2. You're talking about Brandon Davis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I played against this in my win and in match, and it was pretty funny. In game one, Brandon hit 3 rain blizzards against me, like Terra Ice, the Abomasnow, and these blizzards just like were starting to hurt. I actually needed the third one to hit, so like I can't be like that guy that's like, oh, he's just hitting so many inaccurate moves. Like if the third one missed, I would actually like my game plan was destroyed. And then on the flip hand, then after Trick Room had ended, I needed to hit like 4 Muddy Waters, and so it was just like, okay, like now it's my turn. And I ended up missing one of them, but critting the other one, and that kind of bailed me. So it was like a really wacky matchup, and then game 2 was just all 50-50s. But yeah, a really funny team that isn't all in on the Trick Room, like we were talking about with Brian's team earlier. Like that one had the Mousehold as a fast mode. This one has 2 Pokemon as the fast mode. You've got Sneasler and Dragapult that can operate outside of Trick Room, and that is what Brandon ended up doing in the second game against me. And so it keeps you on your toes because you can't go all in on preparing for one side of the team. The other one might just completely shut you down.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Brandon throughout the. Oh, sorry, Adi, go ahead.
I was just in a tournament where Ninetales really did underachieve. There were none in top cut. A whole lot of players going 8-3 with it. It's cool to see Abomasnow also take up the mantle as a snow setter.
What were you gonna say, Aaron?
Go ahead, Aaron.
I was gonna say I was talking to Brandon a lot throughout the tournament, and he said he got like 10 freezes or something absurd like that throughout day 1 and day 2.
No, I mean that's deserved. If you're like if your opponent's letting you spam Blizzard, like it's gonna happen. Oh, I gotta talk about one really funny tech that Brandon got to pull off against me in the match. Abomasnow is slower than the Indeedee in Trick Room. So he just clicks Blizzard against my Archaludon, gives me the stamina boost, then the Indeedee follows up with a luring voice, and it confuses me. And then I self-hit, and I was just like, damn, yeah, I guess you can just do that against Archaludons. That's brutal. Leave me alone. I was kind of scared after seeing that. I was like, okay, fair enough. That's a cool tech.
Sometimes you freeze. Sometimes you hit yourself in confusion, right? Like you just got odds.
Yeah, that was awesome.
The other team that I do want to highlight as I was looking through these is Martin Gouchon's team. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Very sorry. And I'm just gonna let you guys pull it up and look through all the very interesting choices.
Oh no.
That he made.
Okay. So we've got just a throat spray, Como, assault vest, Samurott, Howl, Arcanine. No, Sinistra, chill. What are you doing? Stop. What? Oh God. No. Wait a minute. That's insane. The psych up Sinistra?
Yeah.
Wait.
The Howl Arcanine plus the Samurott. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, this guy might have cooked actually.
Yeah, the ceaseless edge on Samurott as well is something I think is pretty cool. We were talking about Stealth Rocks earlier about all the value it gets, and we were mostly talking about Stealth Rocks in terms of the value it gets from hitting rock weak Pokemon. Something that Stealth Rocks does and Ceaseless Edge does with it's setting up the spikes is that there's a decent number of Satch Pokemon in the format right now. Whether it's a Sneasler, an Indeedee, and these are Pokemon that would be really helpful to just get some chip in on the way in, and then if they're literally sashed, that takes away their whole item essentially, and you can just blow them up in one. Really ruins a lot of game plans, and if you're running Assault Vest on Samurai Hisui, it's ideally going to be able to get off one if you want that to interrupt your opponent's game plans. So a cool tech there. I like that a lot.
One last thing I wanted to mention that I saw in the top 32 was Grant Bielicki. I don't know how to say his last name. He had the Terragrass Cerealage that we talked about earlier as kind of a Sun Tech. He was one of my 2 losses during the tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cerealage
Cerealage actually did beat me too. He brought it.
I was talking before the regional with Raghav. I was like, what do we do to just like actually beat Sun? And then like he just like didn't hesitate, just said Saraledge, and I was like, oh wait, yeah, that does just kind of really give them a tough time, especially when you can Terra Grass safely to avoid a sleep powder. A lot of the times these Sun teams are built around punishing exactly that. You can't be a grass type and avoid sleep powder without getting cooked by eruption or heat wave or what have you. So these flash fire Pokemon, whether you're doing it with Armarouge, Chandelure, Saraledge, Doxbun, of course, that these are all options.
I was testing Dashbun, or however you say it, on
Yeah.
I think it was like Thursday, the night before the regional, and I was
Wait,
like,
like on your
after
team?
yes,
Oh
and
my
after
god.
about 30 minutes, I was like, it's 11 p.m. already. I need to stop wasting my time. There's no chance this is gonna be good. So I just had to delete it out the builder, get rid of the temptation.
No. You see, if you had tested it for an hour, you would have realized that like it's actually terrible instead of just being able to draw that conclusion early. Um, I actually want to talk about a team that I played in my run. That I think also features. I thought it featured Sarah Ledge. Let me go look. Yes, Nolan Cloud here. They ended up not making it to day 2. But they had a really funny tech that made me sweat. Oops, I didn't open the team. They had Gastrodon, which like sometimes can be annoying for rain teams, and it was coming to the matches. But that's not the anti-rain tech that this team features that I want to talk about. It's actually this Dragonite set. This Dragonite was Scale Shot, Low Kick, Protect, and Hurricane. Just like the loaded dice set, but it had Hurricane. And yeah, against my Archaladon, I had gone for Terra Bug because Sneasler was just gonna close combat me for way too much damage. And I was like, I got a Terra here. And I do, and then I'm like, wait, I forgot. I saw Hurricane on the sheet. I'm cooked. I switched in Sinistra just to heal off the close combat damage. The Hurricane did do about half. But because it wasn't inner focus, or because it was inner focus instead of multi-scale, I was able to get rid of the Dragonite a little bit faster than multi-scale Dragonite. And that helped at least a little bit, but the Hurricane was super threatening. I actually ended up losing the second game. I didn't end up setting Rain up, but I Terra Bugged again, and then just the raw Hurricane took me down, and I was just like, what do I do? I ended up having to come up with a much more solid game plan, but that thing was making me jump through hoops.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's got a special attack set and an attack set. It doesn't need
Yeah.
speed.
Yep, I remember running Hurricane Dragonite at the first Reg A tournament. So I was liking it a lot back then, but that was much more of a special attacking Dragonite. But yeah, I don't know. Are there any other any teams that you want to mention, Aaron, that you saw in your run or in top 32 that stood out to you, or just A2 in general?
Not
if you don't have
that
one,
I can remember. Yeah, not really.
Gotcha.
There was a funny team. I don't think they made day 2. I think someone mentioned it in chat. A really funny team with Toxtricity, Northern, Malamar.
Oh my gosh.
But, yeah.
Malamar. I think I did. Yes. I did see this one got points, and I was just like, no way. Ground Hisui Zoroark, Mago Berry, Topsy Turvy Malamar.
Dude, that's a great Dozo tech.
Yep.
Oh, I played. He brought the exact same team to Louisville. I played him in the cup after Louisville, and I beat him. But also he was on stream in one of the in between stream rounds talking about his team as well. And Gabby was interviewing him, and he was just like, "Yeah, I like these mons. I want to have fun with my favorite mons, and it's cool to see him do well with it."
I can respect it. This is messed up. There's a lot of funny stuff here. Telepathy on the Noivern, so you can be boom bursting. Upper hand on the Como. That's actually pretty heat. Upper hand is a really tricky move. Oh wait, not. I want to Control F Christmas because Nathaniel Christmas's team was apparently pretty interesting. Oh, that's Clear Amulet, Dragon Dance, Kingdra. Okay, yeah, wow, it's just outraging. Yeah, no, it's just like a very like unsuspecting Golden Go Rain team until you get to the Kingdra. That's just like, okay, this is your no. It's Dragon Dance Kingdra. That's heat. That is absolutely heat. Anyways, though, let's go ahead and preview Stuttgart really quick. That's going to be the regional happening this coming weekend over in Europe. No idea exactly how many people are going to be in this one. It seems like it had an entry fee. It's not. It's a regional, not a special event. Yeah, I'm expecting it to be a pretty big one. What else is there to mention about it? I know that Joe will be in attendance at this one. So Joe actually making the 3 weekends, 3 continent trip. LAIC, back to the US, and now over here in Stuttgart. But
I don't know why he does that to himself.
Yeah, that's just a lot. Like, there's going to a lot of tournaments. That's like one thing, if you're really wanting to get out there and play and you're making returns on your investment, that's totally cool. Joe's doing well enough to do that, but doing it 3 weekends in a row in 3 different continents, that's a lot of travel. So, insane grind. Real heads do the 4th continent Perth the next week. True. We'll have to see if Joe ends up in Perth. Oh my god.
I mean, hey, you got the prize money is there. Perth's a regional too,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's probably gonna be not too hard to make money there.
Right?
I
What
feel
are you
like
trying to say? What are you trying to say, Carson?
there's
Joji's gonna be
only
there,
like
right?
20 million people in Australia, right? And that's
fair.
smaller
That's fair.
than a lot of states.
Wait, Mr. Darkbean,
true.
you said you know 2 TCG players doing this. Like, have they already done the previous 2 tournaments, like SAC and LAIC? Because, god damn, that is nuts.
That's just
Steal
too
an
much
invite from the
disposable
Aussies,
income
true.
right there.
True. Maybe I should have gone to Perth.
By the way, we
I can have
as okay. Besides Carson, who's already locked up for a Worlds invite, Aaron and Audie, we are rooting for Joe to steal their auto invite over there, because then that's just one less invite for Europe, one less person we're competing for an invite with in NA. He just gets eliminated from the standings.
Yep. And we're rooting for Carson to get 2nd place at every event from now on.
Yes, just second.
Why can't I win?
No,
because
sorry.
then you steal a 2nd invite. Sorry, you gotta get 2nd.
You only need the one. You only need the one.
Everyone.
Nah, I want to win again.
No, I'm sorry. You're part of Tub Nation. It's actually it's a communist nation. It's part of the commune. You got to do what's good for the commune.
Right. Oh my god. We were talking about this though, because like it was actually breaking my brain a little bit just to like try to figure out, like, do you want somebody with a lot of championship points to win events? Like we're just talking about, how does it factor in that there's this top 75 invite system, and when somebody wins, they get taken out of that top 75. Essentially, they are like voided from that, so they already have an invite. And so in Carson's case, Carson is no longer somebody that is competing. No matter how many points Carson has, it will not matter to me, because I can finish above or below him. It doesn't matter. And so Audie jokes, but if Carson were to just like absorb all the championship points for the rest of the season without stealing auto invites, if he ends up with like 30k championship points, it would lower the bar for top 75. So if you're like, if you're really, feeling like, worried about your Worlds invite, that would be like technically the best case scenario, is that like the rich keep getting richer. And so that there's not like a very evenly distributed amount of championship points, you're much more likely to be able to clear the bar for an invite. So it's just kind of funny to think about. I don't know.
It's going to be, so right now, like obviously we're still early in the season. It's hard to do all that math and say, well, I think the so-and-so is going to be in top 25, so I want them to win the regional. And, like that's a little too far out, but it's going to be very, very apparent come the last couple of regionals of the season, come Internet's time, especially Internet, where you're going to know exactly who you want to get top 4 at NAIC. And maybe, if you're 76 and you're rooting for someone to get either like out of top 32 or win the entire tournament, right? It's going to be some fun dynamics there, but right now it's probably a little too early to start doing that math.
Totally. Kind of funny to think though. But anyways, though, besides rooting for NA to steal an invite, because I think we're losing that race right now. I don't know who has more majors in the year, but they got 2 auto invites. Oh, Ashton got the auto invite from LAIC though, so we didn't whiff that entirely. It was 1 to Latin America, 2 to Europe, and 1 to NA. Okay. But yeah, let's go ahead and pick our smart monies for this tournament. So, by the way, smart money for last week, I wasn't on that episode, but they did not pick a single person that made cut. So that's a pretty funny whiff. Like you got some day 2s, like you did fine, just didn't even get anybody in the top 20 or so. A little bit tough. Okay. Oh yeah, let's get Aaron in here. Okay. So yeah, the first thing, the most important thing is if you could pick somebody that you know is going, that is like the main priority, because it would just suck to just say like, I'm gonna pick the best European player and find out that like, yeah, they're taking that weekend off. So Carson, starting with you, who do you got doing well or winning Stuttgart?
I have the absolute GOAT, Francesco Piopero, winning Stuttgart.
All right.
Hard off of a great LAIC finish. I think he's gonna do well.
And do you have any idea if he's going or not?
I believe he told me he was going.
Cool,
I remember him
cool.
saying he was going to Dansk, LAIC, and Stuttgart, but I don't know if he canceled Stuttgart.
Gotcha. So more likely than not, based on your last conversation, at least.
Yeah.
All right. Aaron, who do you got?
I'm gonna go with Victor Medina.
All right.
He's been on an absolute tear. I think it's about time he gets his win.
I like it. Imagine if Carson said he's not going. I have no idea how this game works. I'm just picking somebody. Adi, who do you got?
I've got my boy, one of the most creative team builders in the format. If anyone's going to figure out what the call is, it's gonna be him. It's gonna be Ivar. You're gonna see Ivar, the Dutch player, hopefully do really well.
I loved his kill watch or Weezing team. That was so cool. Like to
So
switch
cool.
out the Weezing to reactivate the competitive.
Yep. Excited to see what he cooks up at the very least.
All right, I will go ahead and pick MDB. Said he's got something cooking. He said he's got a new team for this one. Said that he's really finally figured out what he wants to run in Regulation H. And I believe him 100%. I know that he's not using the same team, that he's not just, moved around 8 EVs and changed the Terra type. He's definitely got something brand new and surely not the same team again. But I mean, just a very safe bet, one of the strongest players in Europe right now. And I do, in fact, know he's going, so happy to pick him. And with that, I actually forgot to open up the tab for it, but let's go ahead and move on to the last section here. Also, by the way, chat, you are always welcome to play along for Smart Money. We do have the chat on screen here, so you can immortalize your pick right now and take your guesses as well. But let's go ahead and do Calc is Right. So this can, of course, be based on anything you experienced this weekend or just a funny one you thought up, or based off any of the other teams that we saw. But you guys all know the rules. You guys all know how it works. We're going to be, I guess for anybody that's new watching this, we're just going to be presenting a damage calc situation and trying to guess a number within the percentage range, essentially. So the default calc here has a Bomb Snow Blizzard doing 34 to 41%. So if you wanted to get in there, you'd maybe say 37 and you'd get the point. If you said 42, tough luck, better luck next time. It's just all for fun. There's not actually anything on the line. That said, though, does anybody have one to get us started?
I've got one ready this time.
All right, let's do it, Carson. Hit us.
Okay, so Timid, Max Special Attack, Terra Psychic, Indeedee Mail, single target, Expanding Force, onto 0 HP, 0 special defense, no special defense boost, Sneasler. How much is it doing?
Oh gosh. Oh, so we're just frying this thing alive. You just
Yes. It's getting murdered.
Okay. Ooh, single target Terra Psychic. In terrain, right?
In terrain.
Yes, okay. You should just take away one of the multipliers randomly. Oh, but it wasn't in terrain. Just be so weird and random. No. Let's do it in terrain. I have my number, but like, god damn, I could miss this by a long shot. So it's really hard.
I have no idea. I've just got to guess though. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no clue.
I would have no idea either. I had to look this one up. Like, you know it kills, but like, how many times over does it kill?
Yeah, how many Sneezlers is it killing?
All right, guesses.
Actually, let me
Colin,
suggest something really quick. Carson, if you're okay with it, because this is such a large range, do you want to have us guess how many Sneezlers it kills? We've done this before.
Yeah. Let's do that instead.
Okay.
So just whole numbers. How many Sneezlers is it killing?
You said it was Sash and DD, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no item multiplier from Ndidi, but it is
was
Terra.
It Terra Psychic? It is Terra.
Yes.
Terra Psychic in terrain, single target.
It was timid
No
or modest?
seed.
Yeah.
No seed.
It's timid.
And no seed as well. Yeah. I'm between two numbers. Well, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Are you ready? Aaron?
Yeah, I have a number.
All right, Aaron starts off.
I'll go with 4 Sneezlers.
4 Sneezlers. Adi?
I think it's doing more than that. I think it's killing 5 Sneezlers.
5. Alex?
Well, I was gonna take 5. I'll just go up one more. My answer was 5, but I want to pick something different for the sake of it, so I'm gonna grab 6 then.
All right.
Let's
is
run.
doing.
Way to pick 2 answers.
Wait 1 second, Carson. I'm gonna. Yeah. I know. I'm gonna end up being right, and like I'll just take 5 then, because 5 was my actual number. We just have to share the win then. Hold on, Carson. We run it on the screen here.
Okay,
so,
revealing it live. Sounds
yes.
good. I won't spoil.
We gotta take off this psychic seed. Make it like a power herb, sure. Make this Sneezler. Not Sneezler. Make this Ndidi timid. Singles. Oh no. Wait, am I missing something? Yes, Terra. Okay. Okay. So if I'm seeing this right, it's doing 471 to 558. Is that correct? Okay, I didn't take away the 4 HP, but so yeah, 4 or 5 Sneezlers, I guess, since it didn't end up in the middle. We both get it, or we all get it. I actually was worried it was going to do way more. Did I miss
that?
Something?
Was a huge increase when you took out the 4.
Oh yeah, wait, hold on, let me see.
Yeah.
474. It's a 3% on the bottom. Oh, but and then 4% on the top. But that is pretty amusing.
Oh, okay.
That is pretty.
That was
amusing.
less than I thought. Yeah.
Okay. Who's got the next one?
The question for that one was basically like, does it OHKO without if you like Terra bugged or something, right? And I thought it did, and then did a little overkill, right? But if it does OHKO, right, do 4. So
yeah, Terra neutral on Sneezler does reduce the damage by 4x. So all right. Does anybody have one ready to go next?
I got a Calc, yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
252 modest Vex Typhlosion in Sun Terrifier Eruption versus 12 HP 44 Spadef Terra Dragon Ursaluna.
Ooh, okay. You said this is in Sun, right?
Yeah.
In Sun Terrifier specs. Okay.
Are you? It's just Ursaluna, just base Ursaluna, no Terra type, nothing.
No, it's Terra Dragon. Terra Dragon.
Oh, it's Terra Dragon. Okay.
It's Terra, right? Terrified.
Yeah, Terrifier. Yes, they're both Terra. Terrifier and Terra Dragon. Terra Dragon on the Typhlosion, Terrifier and the Ursaluna. I'm just kidding. It's reversed.
What was the Ursaluna spread again? Just 252 HP?
No.
12 HP 44 Spadef.
Okay.
I got a number.
I've got a number as well.
Okay. I have a range. Should I just pick one single number or
you just pick a single number within the range, yeah.
Okay.
Y'all got a number?
Yeah.
Yep,
I'm ready.
we're all ready. Pick someone.
Carson, you can start off.
All right, I'm gonna say 88%.
Adi?
I think it's doing 69%.
Okay.
Alex, what about you?
98 is what I had. I feel like you're picking this one because like it is a roll to kill or something. But yeah, let's go ahead and plug it in. So Ursa Luna, we got to take it away. You said 1244, with a defensive Terra Dragon, versus Typhlosion. We can grab the nope, that's the regular Typhlosion. Let's grab the choice spec set. Modest. Oh, you didn't specify the HP.
Fair enough. No, max HP, big eruption.
Oh, you guys are so stupid. The eruption was at 2 HP. What? Okay, Terra Fire over here, Sun.
Oh, was it singles or doubles? Doubles?
Doubles.
It should
Okay.
Yeah, doubles.
Okay. Dude, am I? Oh, I'm gonna be pissed. I think I have everything in here. I'm seeing 96 max.
Yeah.
What
was
was
at
the
90.
range? My guess was 80 to 95.
What
can't
did you
see it.
pick, Carson?
Exactly
You said 88, I think.
I say like 87 or 88, but my guess
Yeah,
was
you're
80
chilling.
to 95. What was the range?
81 to 96, 81.6 to
Oh man, I'm
96.1.
so
You
good.
nailed it. You nailed it.
I used to run Typhlosion, so
Yep.
I remember the calcs.
Adi was also underselling it. He went down to like
I was
69.
low,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I had a feeling you were living or like maybe a roll, but man, I'm sad. I thought my number was safe, just off. Okay, Adi, do you happen to have one or no?
I do have one. So we just put a king draw on stream. It had Dragon Dance and it had Outrage. So let's say you get a Dragon Dance off, and then and let's say you get the Outrage off as well. You are adamant king draw. You have a clear amulet, right? So no modifiers there. You got +1 Outrage into 4 HP multi-scale Dragonite. How much are you doing?
Ooh, this is a nice one. I like this. I like this.
I like this calc. I feel like I know what it is if this guy ran Kingdra too.
So to Carson to add some clarity, this is Nathaniel Crispus. He's a 2017, 2018 era player. He switched to playing Yu-Gi-Oh now. He got top 32 at Yu-Gi-Oh Nationals last year. He got top 32 at Pokemon Nationals in 2017, which is pretty cool. But he was DMing me asking for advice on how to beat Sun, how to beat Sai Spam for the tournament, and I don't know if he actually implemented any of it or not. But so I don't know if he was as calculated as you are giving him credit for. But yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm ready.
Yeah, I have a number.
All right, we all ready?
Yep.
All right, Carson, you can go first.
100 exactly.
100 exactly. Okay.
I feel like
Aaron,
that's why I ran it.
I'll say 87.
87, and then Alex, what do you got?
A little closer to that, 90. I don't know. I'm like thinking about it, like multi-scale, super effective. Like they kind of cancel out, and I'm just like, Kingdra's got a very pathetic attack stat. Like, I'm not actually that confident in the Pokemon. So let's go ahead.
I thought I had a good attack stat.
95.
95 attack stat.
Ooh, that's not great.
Yeah, it's not great.
I think I may have oversold it.
It's
Okay,
definitely a
so-
Gen 2 Pokemon.
We gotta give it adamant. We gotta give it 31 IVs. Audie didn't state the IVs. You know how silly.
That's true. That's true. It actually has a 29 HP IV too. that part is important.
Oh my gosh! Actually, I'm seeing that now. That's awesome. Okay, I gotta get the attack in there. So this is Outrage. We gotta actually make sure we hit this Dragonite. You know. Oh god, dude, it's not looking good. I haven't put in the +1 yet, but like, dude. Oh my god! Wait. All right, I think everything's in there. I don't know if you specified the Dragonite spread.
I did say 4 HP.
It was 4 HP. Okay, then yeah, there we go. Carson, you sneak in there just barely. It's 100.5 max. So
I was giving him. I was on the opposite end. I was thinking like 100 to like 116, not 85 to 100.
But you pass, and Aaron, you picked like 87, right? So you're also in there.
Sneaking on the other end.
Yeah,
wow.
You all got it. Every single person.
All right, well, while we're on the topic of doing like, slightly meta relevant calcs, I was, just thinking about it and curious, like, how much damage does like max defense body press from Doxbun do to a let's hit the let's make it weird actually. Let's hit the jump bluff. So they led Charizard jump bluff, and we're like safety goggles Doxbun or something. I don't know, man. They hit us with the fire move and give us the +2 defense. We're max defense, like bold or whatever, positive nature. Body press. But the Zard Terra ghosted. We can't hit it. We're so sad. We're just gonna body press this jump bluff and hope that it does some solid damage. Jump bluff spread, just max HP. Nothing else on it. So max HP jump bluff. How much does it take from +2 max defense Doxbun? This one's gonna be really easy, I imagine. So go ahead whenever you're ready. Let me know.
Is Doxbun Terra fighting or just Fairy Stone?
No, just no. It's got some other defensive Terra, I guess. No offense Terra here.
+2.
Yeah, we got a +2.
I've got my number.
I've got a number.
I've got a number.
All right. Aaron started off.
23.
23, no fade. Adi next.
35.
35, a little more confident. All right, Carson.
25.
What was that again?
25.
25.
Like this is doing basically nothing.
All right, Doxbun has a 115 base defense, so it's actually not that bad. And as for the jump bluff, I know that it really can't run less than like max speed. I don't actually know what spread these jump bluffs are running 100%, but I imagine that it can't be a lot bulkier than max HP in most real scenarios. So, yeah, let's see. I think it might be Adi here. Adi might be taking this one. I'm seeing, if I plug this all in, +2 max defense body press, doing 33 to 39. 33.5 to 39.5. So Adi knows his stuff.
Maybe I should have kept Doxbun on my team longer. I think it's pretty good.
I was gonna say, you might know your Typhlosion calcs and your Ursaluda calcs. I don't use those Pokemon, but I have used Doxbun before. And
he has used Doxbun before. Oh my god. Well, I hope that everybody learns something from that. I hope everyone feels a lot more informed for their next event after learning how much Doxbun's body press does to jump bluff at +2. And that's gonna do it for Tub Takes this week. So catch us next week with a lot to talk about Stuttgart, as well as a lot of events to preview, the GC and so on. But if you got in here late and didn't catch the beginning, you can always catch it on YouTube tomorrow on Adi's channel there, CK49. The link is in the chat, !YT. And again, thank you, Carson, for being on, and congrats to you as well. Thank you, Aaron, for being on. Congrats to both of you guys on your solid runs.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
And go ahead.
We got some big team reports coming up, right? We got a team report with Carson coming out next week. I mentioned Akil coming out this week. Kalen is probably doing a report with me as well. So we got a lot of stuff coming up. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well. And then we'll probably be doing something for Stuttgart this weekend as well, as far on Twitch. So yeah, just you know, all the socials you got to follow.
True. I'm excited to watch this one. I really want to see what Europe does. Like, if they're just like, you guys are stupid, we're bringing it back to the boring shit. Like, we have to. Or if they actually, cook a little. I don't know what they're gonna be doing about Sun, but we'll have to see. Anyways,
losing to it, I hope Joe's gonna win.
Losing to it. I hope. Oh, true. Joe's gotta win. All right, we're sending you guys over to Master Mark. So have a good rest of your evening, and catch you guys next time. Peace out, peeps.